we learned to do something so cool earlier. I'm still just thinking about it and working out how that happened and how to do it more. I I get anxious thoughts, as you probably couldn't tell, I know. And they tend to be like what if style thoughts. Just your classic hypervigilant thoughts. But I could hold one in place and give Vince access to it, like sharing it, but instead of having just like my thoughts compounding on themselves with thoughts about my thoughts undisturbed in its own kind of pocket, where I can get lost in that chamber of that, just like a proper echo chamber of that happening. It was opened out. It was in this kind of space where it was like held, and then I could hear his responses to it, and the lenses that he could interpret the thought through were things like, it was like sharing a document online. It was like sharing a Google document and seeing two people's cursors there, but instead of there being like hundreds of documents that are switching through your screen at once, which like my thoughts ADHD tangent, and if they're anxious, my nervous system state is like activated, then it'll just be loads of different thoughts with me sort of like managing them as I go and keeping them contained, but within this kind of like cycling echo chamber of like responses to my own thoughts. I was completely different to that, and it also led to this conversation that I'm mind blown by, because the way we experience thinking is different, which I knew it was in some ways, but there's some aspects of thinking that I didn't think there was an alternative. Like, a lot of my thoughts are not manual, they're just like passive. They come through my brain. And I mean my thoughts, not other people's. That's a whole different conversation, but just mine. They passively cycle. There's quite a lot of them. I'll think one thing and then it'll lead to something else, and tangential thinking because ADHD. And that's not how everyone in here thinks, which is like so cool to me, that there's different ways that thoughts are structured, and we can experience that and be like, you know, what is happening for you? That is not what happens for me. But what was really cool about this was like, I could hold this one thought in place, he could have access to it, and then where I was thinking like, I don't know how, there's an unknown variable in my thought that felt like a threat. The uncertainty of, I don't know this element of what's going to happen. And I didn't even realise there was a space there that my brain was injecting a fear into, until I saw Vince and like felt his way of perceiving it, which was so different. So it was like he'd kind of, we both had to, I will say this did not happen naturally. We both had to kind of like quite mindfully and intentionally share these thoughts and like put them forwards for each other, and keep our focus on them being kind of pushed forwards into this space we could both access mentally. It's a very weird thing to explain, but it was so cool, because what it just to me looked like, I'm thinking about this thing, I don't know what's going to happen, fear. That's it. It was a natural response. But then when he had access to it, it was like there's this unknown variable, irrelevant. There was no generation of fear. It's like it was just a thing to skip over. It wasn't a thing. For me, it became like this well that fear could drive into, and that's just what it was. And I didn't realise there was anything else it could be. But to him, this element of, I don't know what's going to happen here, was not even a space to be filled. It was just another piece of data that didn't change how he felt or what we would do about a situation, or like generate any thoughts about it. And it was so cool, because I had no idea that could even be interpreted differently. Now I've got that template that I can think of when I think, oh, this having uncertainty It doesn't have to be a scary thing. It can just be something I don't know that doesn't get filled with possibilities of what could happen. That doesn't like change what I think about me or us or what we'll do. I would never have had that template if we weren't learning how to like present thoughts to each other to work on like a shared document. And that is so cool.